Hey there folks, John here with Through My Lens, and today I'm coming to you with an electronics gear kind of a review. Today we'll be looking at the Astro Gaming A40 TR wired headset plus mix amp. That sure is a mouthful. I'll mostly be referring to this as the Astro A40. Now, a little backstory here. I used to really be into home theater. This is going back probably about 16 years. A big reason why we bought the house that we're currently in, again, about 16 years ago, was that it has a part of the finished basement that was pretty ideal for setting up a home theater, which I did. Now, I had a big 110-inch screen, and then I had, at the time, cutting-edge 1080p projector, power leather recliners, 5.1 speaker system, the works. Now the problem with these kinds of setups is that even if you have them in a basement like I did, to really enjoy them at the volume that God intended, it's going to bother anyone else in the house. So eventually you'll find yourself really not using the home theater room nearly as much as you'd like. The other problem is that home theater setups tend to take up a lot of space. Again, I had a whole row of leather recliners. Behind that, I had a riser with a leather sofa on it, and it just, there really wasn't a whole lot you could do in that part of the basement besides use the home theater. So it is inconvenient from that perspective. So after about 10 years, I reconfigured the space to be a photography studio. So I kind of abandoned the home theater setup. But I definitely missed the home theater experience for both watching movies and gaming. So this year I decided to set up a smaller scale area in my basement that I would use for both gaming and movie watching. So for that, I was able to get a hold of an Xbox Series X. I've been, trying to get one of those for about a year. That was a challenge in and of itself. I got a 55-inch LG C1 OLED TV, which is probably the best TV that you can get for gaming on a next-gen console. But the real key to making the system useful and functional is the Astro Gaming A40 TR wired headset. It really does allow me to enjoy both movie watching and gaming at the kind of volumes that I like to without driving my wife nuts. And I was able to scale down both the space required and the cost for the system as a result. You don't need, for example, a receiver. You don't need to buy expensive speakers. I just use, for my needs, one leather reclining gaming type chair, which I've got on order. It's going to be here in a few days, so I plan to do a separate video about the new setup when it all comes and I've got everything finalized. When my wife and I watch TV together, it's generally upstairs in the great room, and we have a 65-inch TV up there. But when I want to watch a movie and have that true home theater experience, or I want to play a game, now I can come down to the basement in this really perfect setup. And again, that's really thanks to this these Astro Gaming headphones here. I found with these that I can enjoy about 85% of the experience I had with my quote-unquote true home theater. So whether you're gaming or watching a movie, this headset is just phenomenal. It's probably one of the Cadillac options available for gaming, and there's so many reviews here on YouTube of these headsets. They make versions for just about any kind of a setup that you want. Specific to Xbox or PlayStation, for example. It has this detachable microphone, so clearly, again, it was designed and marketed to be for gamers. but I cannot stress enough just how ideal this is for movie watching. Part of the reason for that is that this headset is optimized for use with Dolby Atmos. Now, Dolby surround sound technologies, the magic that makes movie and TV soundtracks come alive through multiple strategically placed speakers, has been around for years. But they recently developed a new audio technology that's nothing short of game changer, pun intended. And that's Dolby Atmos. With this new technology, Dolby has ushered in a new era of home theater audio that adapts to any environment with what they've dubbed object-based audio. Now, back in the day in my Dolby 5.1 system, that used to get oohs and ahs by discreetly sending sound to the front left or the back right channel, for example, it made the viewing experience much more immersive. But again, you had to have a very sophisticated setup with the right kind of receiver, Blu-ray player, and really expertly set up speakers for the room to experience really in the most optimal way. So it really had a lot of barriers for the uninitiated. Dolby Atmos, with this Dolby Atmos technology, you can essentially have the same experience that's really simulated, within the ear cups of this, here on the headphones. Now, sound not only comes from the left or the right, but it comes from above, below, from really all directions. It's fantastic. Now the sound fidelity that comes from the A40s, which is certainly amazing across the entire spectrum of highs, mid-range, and low-end frequencies, it really is fantastic. And using the Dolby Atmos app, you can discreetly adjust frequencies to your preferences. About the only thing you won't get with a headset like these that you get in a proper home theater is that bass, that low-end frequency from a subwoofer that you can feel. But besides that, the listening experience that I get from the A40s is at least as good in my home theater experience, if not better in many ways, outside of the again, those low-end frequencies outside of the bass. Now, technically speaking, because Dolby Atmos is accomplished through software, any headset can support Dolby Atmos, but not every headset that's out there is optimized for Dolby Atmos like the A40s is. So that's that's something to keep in mind. And again, you get this fantastic experience like you get with a much more expensive home theater, but it costs a lot less, and I don't get grief from my wife when I use it. Now, keep in mind that I primarily purchased the A40s for gaming. At the price point, they really are considered one of the best, if not the best, options for gaming due to the incredible sound that they produce and the quality of this microphone that transmits your voice when you're gaming with friends online. And many games that are out there for both Xbox and PlayStation are optimized to support Dolby Atmos. So you definitely get that amazing immersive experience when you're playing games. But what surprised me was just how good these headphones sounded when watching movies. Many of the streaming services like HBO Max, Netflix, and Disney Plus have quite a bit of Dolby Atmos optimized content that sounds fantastic using the A40s. It just really shocked me. And again, there's actually surprisingly few headphones out there that are designed specifically for home theater use and that are optimized to support Dolby Atmos. I did a little research into this when I was looking at options for my system, And JVC, for example, makes one of the only other headsets that I would really want to consider. It's called their Exofield headset system, and that costs about $800. So from that perspective, the $200 price point for these headphones really is a bargain. And part of that price differential, I believe, comes from the size of the buyer population that each of these headphones is marketed to. The JVC system is marketed to the audiophile niche, while the Astro A40s is much more geared toward gamers, which is a much bigger market. So I think that explains some of that price differential. Now, I have not listened to the JVC system to directly compare them, but I'm really betting it does not provide a 4 times better listening experience than what these A40s provide. They really are an awesome set. They're pretty well made. They're mostly plastic. Some metal in the posts. The cups are very, very comfortable. I don't have problem using them hours at a time. And for those that want to customize it, you can mod these. You can go onto their website and you can buy different color trim pieces here to make these a little bit more unique. I guess these are just held on magnetically. That's kind of nifty. Not something I'm interested in particularly, but the option is available. So really, I think they're pretty high quality. Most gamer headsets are under $100 or around the $100 price point. So these at $200 within the gamer market is considered a more premium option, than what it typically competes with. Now, let's talk about some do's and don'ts when considering the Astro A40s. Do order the correct version. This one's actually not the correct version, as evidenced by the connector here that goes into a controller. This really isn't the one that you want, and it's quite confusing because here's the box that it comes in. I'm going to be returning this to Amazon. But I knew that I wanted the A40s with the mix amp. And in the description and in the box it says A40 plus mix amp M80. But you'll see there's no actual picture of the mix amp on this somewhat shorter box. Now here's the version that I ended up ordering when I discovered I had the wrong one, and you can kind of see the difference here in the picture on the box. But notice they both say plus mix amp, which is easy to, that makes you think that both of these versions come with the mix amp, when in fact actually this one is the only one that does come with the mix amp. And that's something that you really do want with this system. Here is the version that comes with the mix amp, and here is the mix amp device itself. And the reason why this is so important is you really can't make any adjustments at all on the headphones without the mix amp. There are no hard buttons at all for volume control or anything. You can't even change the volume, any of the balance, without the mix amp utility. And interestingly enough, this version and the last version that I told you, the one that comes with and the one that doesn't come with the mix amp, they're both the same price on Amazon. So again, very, very confusing. They're both at that $200 price tag. And again, besides the lack of the physical controls on the other version, it plugs directly into the gaming controller, which I see as a downside. Having the headphones plug into the controller while you're gaming, is fine, but it also means that you have to hold onto the controller while you're watching a movie, which is awkward. So again, the version with the mix amp is really the one that you want. I have not fully mastered all of the adjustments that you can make with the mix amp, but you know, I certainly appreciate having a volume control. That's something that's a must-have. Also, do immediately do a firmware update when you get these. You may not have any sound at all when you plug it in if you don't do the firmware, which I discovered you know, when I went to use these for the first time. Plugged it in, got it set up, and I wasn't getting any sound. Once you do the firmware update, though, that problem will be fixed. Also, do download the Dolby Atmos app for your console. Again, this is the version for the Xbox Series X. I have the Xbox Series X. You download it from the Microsoft Store as an app onto the system. You'll pay a modest one-time fee of around $15, although at the time of this recording, I was able to get it at a discount, so it was closer to $10, which was you know, all the better. Now, the only potential downside to this setup is that it is a wired system. Being a wired system means that it's, you know, optimum for the sound quality and for avoiding any latency that's associated with wireless transmitting the sound from the Xbox Series X to the headphones via something like Bluetooth. Now, the downside is that you'll basically have a USB cable running from the Xbox Series X to the mix amp, and an audio cable that runs from the Xbox, or excuse me, from you know, from the mini amp to the headphone itself. So that, and for my setup, it works fine. But your mileage may vary. It's really going to depend on the kind of room that you're using, the distance that your chair, your seating area is from your TV. I don't have much distance from the TV to my seating area, and the system is pretty much designed exclusively for one person to use. You know, I don't have any kids in the house anymore. My wife doesn't have any interest in playing video games, so it's really designed pretty much for just me. My old home theater was designed for multiple people to use. That's when, you know, back when, you know, I did have a young child in the house, and, you know, we used to have a lot of people over and things like that. Of course, that just doesn't happen as much these days anymore. So my new setup is pretty much for just me. Now, technically speaking, you know, you could set up the Xbox Series X for use with multiple Astro A40s. You just have to add a $200 cost for every user. You know, but that's still, you know, it's definitely doable, and it's still much cheaper than a dedicated home theater if you have other family members that will use this setup. You know, again, the Astro Gaming A40 TR wired headset plus the mix amp, you know, has been a premier choice for gamers for several years now. But my message here is, do not overlook this headset for home theater use. No matter what kind of home theater setup you have, chances are you do have a console system hooked up to it. And, you know, there are several versions of the A40 that work with pretty much anything out there. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Well, there you have it. There's my review of the Astro A40. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next video.
I hope you've enjoyed this production from the Through My Lens YouTube channel. If you did, please click on the like button and do share the video on social media. If you'd like to see more content like it, please do subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and do check out Through My Lens at www.throughmylens.org.